Hello, wonderful people. This is Francisco, founder of Fear Fantasy. Welcome to the Mind Shapers, the BizAcc Q1.18 series.
First of all, I just want to thank you for inviting me on the show, and I appreciate you very much. I count you dear as a friend, that we've become friends over this short time, and our interaction has mostly been online. So again, I thank you again for inviting me on the show to discuss this interesting topic. And just a little background on me. I'm born and raised in Hawaii. I actually did most of my education in the States. I did my medical training and surgical training in the States, and some surgical training actually in England, in Bristol, England. So yeah, I have a lot of science under my belt, but what I found that not everything is in the physical realm. And at the end of the day, everyone, I believe, is made up of three basic things. One, a physical body, which has to adhere to the physical laws of this universe. Number two, a soul, and what I mean by that, the soul contains your mind, your thoughts, your will, your emotions, and your personality. So that's the soul realm. But there is another realm, and that realm is the spiritual realm. And once you understand the spiritual realm and understand how things work in the spiritual realm, then you can bring impossible things to happen here in the physical realm.
Right. The spiritual one, do you mean the connection between what exactly? How do you...
Well, there is a spiritual realm out there, because at our very essence, we are actually spirit beings. At our very essence, we're spirit beings that are housed in a physical body while on this earth.
Yes, totally agree with that. Yeah.
And so once you understand the spiritual laws, just as there are physical laws. I mean, you're an engineer by background, yes?
Yes, I have a background in mechanical engineering.
Yes. So you know physics, meaning at a certain realm, you can use Newtonian physics to figure out if a car is traveling, how fast, how much momentum is carried, what's the friction coefficient, et cetera, et cetera. You can figure all those things out with equations in the physical realm. And the interesting thing is that when you go from, say, Newtonian physics now to quantum physics, where you're dealing with physics on a particle size level, all the rules change.
Exactly. All
the rules change, and they don't follow the same sort of rules. Meaning you cannot, you have a certain experiment on the observer, and because it's dependent on the observer, is that you can have a different result.
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely. Yeah. The observer. It's relative, and I think that, it was Einstein that said that there is no absolute time, just movement, because time is already a perception. This fourth dimension we consider time is actually perception, what we made of it. It's really...
And the way you should look at time is because that's how we function as human beings on this physical plane here, the earth. Okay? So right now, time is for us. But for someone in the spiritual realm, they don't function on time. And I guess I'll give an analogy. Say what a parade, like a parade, how they march down the street,
yes,
all these floats and different things. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're standing on the street and a parade is moving across you, you see all these little things in order.
Exactly.
That's like time. That's like time, because it's linear. You understand?
Yes.
If you operate on the spiritual plane or the realm, spiritual realm, I'll use those terms interchangeably. Now you're not on the street. You're actually looking from above, and you can see the whole parade.
Yes.
You see the whole parade. So there is no time, because you see the whole thing. You can see the beginning of the parade, and you can see the end of the parade. But when you're like on our level, physical, you can only see what's in front of you right now. That's time.
Exactly.
So that's how time applies to us.
Yeah, that's an excellent point of view, that one of the parade, because once we see the end, the middle, and the beginning of everything,
there's no time.
Yeah, there is no time.
Yeah. And so let's get back to your original question, because your original question is a very, very good one. It's a very important one. And what I try to do, I think my calling in life is to teach people how to heal themselves. And I'm not saying taking any medicine or anything. And when I talk about healing means you don't need any medicine, which means you're cured. And that's where you can bring things that are impossible according to man, according to science. And you can bring things that are impossible to be possible now, right here, right now. And again, you've seen some of my testimonies that these things are, you can't, there's no cure for these things. But you've seen people give their testimony saying, I'm totally cured of this.
There is no cure in the medical point of view, right?
For most things, yes. For most things, I'll give an example. High blood pressure, there's no cure for that, really. Rheumatoid arthritis, no cure for that. Cancer, not really a cure for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But you've seen some people on my testimonies, they're cured of these things. You see? Because if you keep things on the physical plane, then you're limited to what the physical plane can give you. But when you take things up to the spiritual plane, there's no rules now. There's a completely different set of rules, just like going from just regular mechanical physics to quantum physics. There's different rules, but you can get different results. And the results can be very, very, very good, or can be very, very, very bad. And let's take, your website or your business, fear, fantasy, two opposites, yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
And I will say, and I'm going to throw a couple of different terms, but I'm going to use them in your sort of paradigm that you're kind of, you're dealing with on both sides, because you like to question people on their fear and their fantasies, you see? And so in my last seminar that I gave, which was the truth about fears, I uncover all, what really is fear all about. And at the end of the day, I mean, it kind of threw you for a loop, because at the end of the day, I said, the truth about fear is that fear is a big fat lie. It's an illusion. Fear, F-E-A-R, is false evidence appearing real. Okay, so, well, and then so you questioned me, well, if that's a lie, then what is fantasy? Is fantasy a lie?
Yes.
And
yes.
I don't use that word fantasy, but I will put something on that side of the scale. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm very curious to know because we can use different words, of course, but the goal is like to explore the opposite.
Yes, the opposite. And so what I'll tell you is that everybody on this earth, I'm talking about human beings, everybody on this earth has one of your most powerful tools that's already put inside of you. And that tool is your imagination, your mind, your imagination. What can you imagine? And so some people say, what do you mean by that? I don't know how to imagine. And I can tell you something everybody can imagine. So for those people listening out there, I'll give you a quick imagination tip right here. So if you close your eyes, so Francisco, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. So close your eyes, and I want you to imagine a pink elephant right in front of you. Can you picture that? Can you picture that?
Yeah.
Got it.
Totally.
It's a pink elephant. Now we're going to actually make it more creative. Can you imagine yourself standing on the elephant? Picture yourself standing on the elephant and balancing on that elephant. Can you imagine?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let's make it even more creative. Can you imagine yourself doing a handstand on that elephant?
I can imagine myself doing that. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, open your eyes. Open your eyes. You have just worked your imagination.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So what is imagination? Is being able to close your eyes and seeing a picture in your head. That's what your imagination is. So man has this awesome power of their imagination.
Yes.
And again, you brought up Einstein. So what did Einstein say? Imagination is more important than knowledge. Okay? Okay, so...
Exactly. If I remember, there is this quote that says, if we use practicality, we can go from A to B. But if we use imagination, we have infinite ways to go from A to B, right?
Yes. And so, because now, again, imagination is one awesome trait that you have. Another awesome trait that's already inside of you is creativity, whether we choose to use it or not. So let's just stay on imagination, because we got to touch on the sphere thing. It's the central point that we start at. Okay?
Right.
So it's the central point that we start at. Now, from here, I can take that picture and I can take it to the positive. I can take that same picture and I can take it to the negative. I'll give you an example. So say I have cancer. Let's just say I have cancer. So if I have cancer, I can have this picture in my mind, and I can take it to the negative, which is me being, in my casket, I'm being buried on the ground.
Yeah.
That's taking this present state and taking it to the negative direction. That's fear. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now,
we choose to go the negative path.
Okay, so that's meaning, but I'm using my imagination, because my imagination is seeing myself in the coffin, people at my funeral, everybody crying. Well, maybe not crying, maybe everybody celebrating. Who knows? Okay, or I can take it the opposite way. So the opposite way, what is that? The opposite way is I'm totally healed. My body's just totally clean. I'm running marathons. I'm swimming. I'm doing everything that I wanted to do in life. That's the positive.
Yeah.
You see. So now we have this ability to go one way or the other. I call this, on this side, hope, H-O-P-E, okay? H-O-P-E. Now, I caution people a lot, because I work in healing. And so what I tell them, I say, you got to be careful with hope, because I see a lot of wrong hope or false hope. And what is that? So I'll give you an example. So let's say, everybody around you has the flu, right? So if everybody around you has the flu, and you're like, oh, wow, did you hear there's a bad flu going around? And you're saying, well, I hope I don't get it. Okay. Or say if you even have cancer, and doctor just said, lays this diagnosis on you, and you say to your friends or family, oh, I hope I don't die. And I'm going to say that's the wrong way of using hope. So when I use that word hope, I'm going to say my definition of hope is the positive expectation that this will occur, period. That's hope. So anything short of that is false hope or fake hope.
Yes, so it's very important to create that final image, like using our imagination, we can visualize the good ending instead of going the opposite way. Yeah.
Now, and again, you're using the word fear, but I know what you're meaning the same thing I mean. Yes, you're using the word fear. I'm using the word fantasy. When you say fantasy, it's the same. But the reason why I use these terms, because there is a power source that will lead you to that hope.
Yes.
Okay? So there's another word I have to add in there. It's almost like I can show you this point, which is your starting point wherever you're at, and I say this is the positive end point right here.
Yes.
But you need something to kind of draw this point closer to you here in the physical realm, and that the word that I use is faith. F-A-I-T. Okay, faith. And so what do I mean by that? And so because there's a lot of fake faith out there. Fake. I'm going to define what real faith, what true faith really is. And so true faith is the assurance or the confidence, right, of what you hope for will, W-I-L-L, will actually happen, not might.
Yes. Be assertive on the will.
Will. That's a huge difference. Most people use fake faith and they hope it might happen. But now you just got to understand these are spiritual laws. And once you understand the spiritual laws, that's why you can see healings, like miraculous healings happen. Because you just have to understand there's spiritual rules, there's rules that run, spiritual rules or keys that run and have effect on the physical. The spiritual realm rules over the physical realm.
Yes.
And if you understand that, and you can take your issue, your problem up to the spiritual realm, that's when miracles can happen in your life. And I've seen it time and time again. If again, on my Facebook page, you have those testimonies, people varying different problems, all different kinds of problems. And they're totally free right now. They're totally healed. Whether it be fear, it can be fear. That's okay. It can be something else. It could be cancer. It could be rheumatoid arthritis. It could be gastrointestinal problems or disease. I've had people with genetic mutations that are totally healed right now. Genetic mutations. And as a
Incredible.
scientist, you know,
That's just incredible. Yes, and I'll make sure that I'll paste all the links on the reference
that's
below,
right.
so everyone can check them out, because the ones I've seen and the testimonials I've seen, they are just incredible. And I've seen you already in action in your webinars, masterclasses, and helping people. And I dig a little bit about your background, and it's just, everything's just amazing, and people have really to see that. Because that's the reality. We are just like blinded with what people call reality, but there is so much more around. And once we accept it and we see it, then we can start healing. First, we have to accept it and to see it.
Well, again, and so I have a whole other seminar that I teach. And it's called Understanding Spiritual Healing. Understanding. Because what I try to do is I try to teach what I do to other people.
Yes.
So that they themselves then can teach other people. And in that, I talk about certain things. And this is what we know of modern science. And what I try to do is I try to point out some spiritual keys or laws or rules that run in the spiritual realm, but the spiritual realm controls the physical realm. Okay? Now, here's an interesting thing. And I have a little video thing on my Facebook and also on my website, rexmanayan.com. But anybody who wants to join my Facebook, it's free, it's open. Go look at those videos. You can learn a lot of things, okay, on the Facebook page. Now, it's important to understand this, is that a truth will be presented to somebody, a truth, okay? And then it's up to that person now to look at that truth and say, well, if it's the truth, do I believe it? Okay, so the truth will then lead to a belief in this person's mind. Could be you, could be me, okay? Based on our beliefs determine our perception on how we see the world.
Totally.
Very important point. So our beliefs determine our perception on how we see the world. Our perception then determines our behavior in this world. Our behaviors in this world now determines our life. Because that's a big deal. Because we go, well, this is my lot in life. Well, it's because it started off with your belief.
Exactly.
And if you trace it back to the belief now, you got to say, what was the truth that you believe? Because if the truth, like say, for example, was fear, then you got taken for a ride the whole time.
Yes.
You see?
That's
now,
exactly it. Yeah.
So if the truth, again, you got to know what the truth is. If you're believing the wrong truth, which I would term a lie, then your whole life is messed up. But so I go after this truth, and I'm going to challenge this truth. Is this truth for real? I use the word truth. I'm going to say whatever this thing is, could be a truth or a lie. But is this, even though it says it's the truth, is it really the truth? Because if it's not, it's going to mess up my whole life. You see? Yeah. And so this is really important, because most people, they think something is the truth when it really isn't. And because of that, they model their beliefs after that truth, and now their beliefs determine their perception, but they're wondering why their life is keeps going down the drain.
Yes, of course. And I think the next step would be to understand what can attack those beliefs, what can change our beliefs, so we can be aware. And again, self-awareness have to come up so we can be prepared to defend our beliefs from the external attacks. And I think there is one very common enemy that also sometimes might be a friend. I don't know what is your opinion, and I really struggle with it, and he's one of my biggest enemies, and it's called ego. And I'm fighting ego for this. This is a long battle, and I'm always backing ego down, just come down, just so I can have the vision and self-awareness about myself. Because when ego starts to get too intense, the beliefs just change, and everything will come apart and will be different of what really they should be, right?
Okay. So when you use the word ego, define that for me, your definition of the word ego, because it may be different than my definition of the word ego.
Yeah. Ego for me is letting our beliefs about ourselves to be more important than the why we are doing it, and towards the exterior, being our missions to send love. When ego comes into the equation, that love will bounce back a little bit. It's putting our interests first instead of giving importance to the ones we are trying to help, for example.
Okay. But for you, you just have to understand, say you're battling with ego, right? So I understand what your ego is now. You just have to understand this is that what is your, you know that term MO, modus operandi?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So what is Francisco's modus operandi at the end of the day? But you just said it to me, so I just want you to say it again. What's your modus operandi?
So the things that I use to fight ego, is that the correct question?
No.
The way I use it, the modus operandi.
What is Francisco's modus operandi for life? You just said it to me, so I just want you to say it again.
To share love and help others.
Yes.
That's the main mission.
In order to share love, Francisco.
Yeah.
Francisco, in order to share love, you have to humble yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the love itself, the love that you share, it extends upon all characters. And when I talk about love, I'm talking about, I'm not sure if you know of the term agape love.
No,
Are you familiar with that? Agape love?
No. I have to Google it. Tell me about it.
And so in agape love, it's unconditional, meaning I'm not loving this person because that person loves me. Okay, so agape love is Greek, right? Yeah, agape love is unconditional, meaning like Francisco, I choose to love you whether you love me back or not. I will still love you. You spit on me, I will still love you. You steal all my money, I will still love you. That's unconditional love. There's no conditions for me to love you. Now, if in order for me, like say, Francisco, I'm only going to love you if you love me back. Then that's not unconditional. That's conditional, not unconditional. You see the difference?
Yes, absolutely.
But if Francisco says, Rex, my modus operandi, my MO is to love others. In order to love others, you really have to humble yourself. You have to. And I will, because if you said, Rex, what's my modus operandi? My modus operandi in life is to be a blessing to others. And that's why when I hear that, you'll hear that testimony, and maybe when you check that one out on that other woman, Jessica, for my first testimonial for March 31st, when I heard about her problem, I was really busy doing stuff. But when I heard that I dropped everything and I went to her. I dropped everything. And I was like in the middle of a lot of things. I was like moving and all this kind of stuff. And starting a new job, I was really doing other things, but I dropped everything. Why? Because my MO is to be a blessing to others, you see? And so I think if for you, if you just say, if Francisco just says in his spirit, Francisco says, my MO is to love others. And so when ego tries to come up saying, well, you should put yourself first, or you should do this, or you should do that. You know what you say to it? Francisco should say, shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Yeah, you squash it. Because what's your MO? So you're going to go back to the truth. And I will say that, Francisco, I already see your spirit. I already see your soul. And I see the love that comes out of you by how you talk, what you share. And again, I've seen you play some music. You know what I'm saying? I see it. And I see it, and I think it's a beautiful thing, and that's why I was actually more than happy to come and talk to you on the show, because it's like, yes, I want to talk to this guy. But if you understand what I'm saying, that there just has to be some guidelines, and I would say that guideline of love, that's a universal key, that's a spiritual key, that we are called to love others. Yes, we are, absolutely, and unconditionally, not conditionally. There's a difference, yeah.
Yes, yes. We are talking about very interesting and important subjects, and I use my example of ego and the struggles I'm having because we are all human, and I'm sure that we have tons of people struggling with the same thing, and this message could really be important for them too. And it's a very nice point of view, a clear point of view. This one you just gave, like imagination, what I call pure fantasy, is actually what you call hope, and you defined a medium to go from fear to hope, that is faith, right? Like
Meaning faith will allow you to get that hope. And the hope is that positive expectation of whatever point you're at. I mean, say if you need healing from cancer, or you need healing from this disease or that disease, or say you need this job or vocation, or say, you need this something in your life. That's how you have to use faith to, now almost like, like if you, in cowboys, they get a lasso and they throw it around the animal and they pull the animal back. That's how faith is used. Faith is used that way. But faith, and I kind of, again, I go into this on my spiritual healing seminar, but the way faith works is that the belief has to happen first. Not after you have it, but before you have it. And it has to happen in your heart. And that's why many people don't get it, because guess what? They never prepared their heart. They never prepared their heart. It takes some work, but it's very doable. It's very doable, as I've shown in all these people with the testimonials. And in terms of, it really comes down to a matter of the heart. It really does. And it's a humbling of yourself. It's an opening up of yourself. It's an opening of your heart. When you open up your heart, you make yourself vulnerable. But there's healing in it. There's absolute healing in it. And it can be miraculous healing. That's the beauty, miraculous healing. And that's what I try to teach, is that, no, we're not going to just think just for regular things in the physical. We're going to think for things that are supernatural.
Yes.
If you want supernatural to come into your life, yes, this is the way to do it.
Of course, and I think that's really, really awesome what you're doing, and I admire you so much for doing that spiritual healing as well, essentially because you have a science background. So when you step out from science to go to the spiritual world, you really connect those, you understand what's happening, micro, and zooming out. And that's really a pure perspective about life and our existence. And when we talk about beliefs, and they have to come from a place of love, because we really have to love, I resonate a lot, because my goal and mission with Fear Fantasy is really to explore what's in between. When I want to help people using, for example, photography, that it's just a tool to face their fears or to explore their fantasies and to put them into an image, what I'm doing is helping them, that's my goal, to face it so they can understand what's happening and change their beliefs and create a new belief. And what I'm using as a main tool is love. What's in between fantasy for me is just love.
So again, there's a surface message, which is photography, but the underlying current is love.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing. But just so you know, Francisco, just so you know, I've known that from the very beginning.
Yeah.
About you.
I know you know.
From the very beginning. But that's what, we've had conversations before, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
From the very beginning. Yes, I've seen that I've seen that in you. And so that's why we developed this bond, we developed this friendship, because I see what's inside of you. Yes, absolutely. And at the same time, I mean, I want to also rejoice, and I want to help share what you have to share with others. So it's a beautiful thing. And again, I think this medium of this talk show, exploring these things, your ability to gather, great people with just varying specialties in life, and having the ability to actually talk about it and share it with others, because then people can learn, and then people can say, you know what, this may have been my reality, and I don't really like this reality right now, but I want to take it to this reality, and that reality can totally change from one to another. Absolutely. I mean, I see it time and time again.
Yes, one opt-in I have for myself, like a mantra, and I use it every time when I'm okay. and by the way, I use my good moments to ident on my spirit what I have to do when fear comes along, or difficulties and struggles normal for everyone in this planet, so I can be ready to because a sailor gets ready before going to the sea. That's the message. And I've got this great mantra for me that is just, happiness is a choice. I just have to choose to be happy, and I have to choose, I have to want to go through love, and just because I'm willing to go there, it's like just seeing the door. After seeing the door, we have to open it and to get in. But I believe that happiness is a choice, and after that, our beliefs about our future can change, because we just have to want it, and then comes the practicality that we can learn, of course. But going after your dreams is not that difficult, because we just have to have a dream. That's the only boundary that I see there. It's really, we just have to have a dream. That's the first condition.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct in that. And I will add on to what you just said. In understanding what happiness is a choice, what people don't realize, that inside, deep inside them already, are these traits. Okay, I'm going to mention a few of them. Inside, you already have it in you. It's a matter of you unlocking it and bringing it out, and then sharing it. Okay, and these traits: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control. Sound mind, self-control. Okay, so you have all these traits already inside of you. It's being able to now open up your heart, and then now expressing it. It's already inside. And so the happiness, I would say there is a difference between happiness and true joy.
Yes.
Okay. Now, and happiness, as you described it, may be a more intellectual thing, but true joy comes from here. Exactly. And then when true joy comes from here, you have to be happy in order for true joy to come out. You have to. Does that make sense? So one is an intellectual thing, because I'm choosing to be happy. One thing is understanding, to opening up the true joy and then coming out of here. Because I'm gonna show that this is right. So when Francisco is able to express love to others, how does he feel?
That's above joy.
But you understand? Yeah. You're naturally you're happy because of what's coming out. Does that make sense?
Exactly. I'm so happy that I feel my body vibrating, like pulsing.
Yes. No. And again, if you want to get onto the energy talk, because we can talk about energy, you're vibrating at a higher level. Absolutely. You see? Yeah. And so my point is not to, I'm going to, again, because we can be intellectual about it, and that's psychology.
Yeah.
I choose to be happy. Well, you know what? Take something inside of you and share it with others with love, and you cannot help but be happy in doing that. You cannot. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because then the joy is opened up too, from the inside out. When you can take things and come from the inside out, and this is what I'll say, I caution a lot of people, because they want to go to the bookstore and buy all these self-help books. Again, that's modern psychology, okay? And modern psychology is doing stuff from the outside in. When you do from the outside in. When you do things from the spiritual realm, you do things from your spirit being inside out. Exactly. That's where, you know what a bubbling spring is, where it never stops? A bubbling, like a mountain spring.
Yes, right? yes. Always.
It just comes, the water keeps coming. Yeah. That's how you can live out of your heart. And when Francisco says, regardless of it, his ego might say something, he tells the ego to shut up. Okay, go to your room, shut up. Right? Yeah. And he goes, I'm gonna do what Francisco's MO is, modus operandi. I'm gonna express love. But once you express that love, it's like a bubbling spring, it cannot stop. Almost it comes out like a fire hose.
Because actually, that's what I've been doing every time and during this course we are together. If you notice what I say in between the lines. Every time I go there and I help others, and like Conan, I arrive there and I try to help everyone. Is actually moments where I might be a little bit off track and I want to recenter myself. And the first thing I do when I feel that I'm losing it is help someone, and that will bounce back with vision. And for me, that's the key. Yeah.
No, but I see it. I see it in all of your work. So that's why I take my hat off to you and I congratulate you, because I see what you're doing. I totally see what you're doing. Maybe people might not, but I totally see what you're doing. And I think that's why we have this connection, because it's like we're almost vibrating on the same level.
Wonderful connection. And I see that there are more people in our group also vibrating in this level.
Yes.
And awesome. Yes. And I've got so much, I'm taking notes every time. I've got so many things to discuss, and we've just talked about beliefs and perception and behavior. And I feel that all of these topics are just a singular masterclass, a single webinar. We can just take hours to talk about it, and that's brilliant.
Absolutely. Well, that's why, again, I told you I give my seminar, Understanding Spiritual Healing. It's a 1-day seminar. I mean, it's the whole day, and it's just jam-packed. But, you come out of there, some people come out of there, they're totally healed.
Yeah, that might be a wonderful experience, I'm sure. And I'm going to create my belief. I will be there.
Okay. No, yeah. One day we'll actually be interviewing live to live, right? You have a live show. We'll come out there and I can come out to where you're at.
I know that I will have my studio and I will have the possibility to create my own show one-on-one physically. That's just a matter of time and practicality to achieve that goal.
Yeah, right now we do it like this. It's just as good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think you are going to have a webinar this day, and this conversation is awesome. And I really am looking forward to extend this conversation with other topics with you, Rex. This is
absolutely. Yeah, we can talk about a whole list of things. Like, as I told you, for example, in about 2 hours or about 2.5 hours from now, I'll be giving my webinar. It's a live webinar, and it's on health. It's just about teaching people a healthy way to live and how to look at how you can actually live a healthier life. And that's actually that particular talk is just on the physical plane. You understand? And not that one is greater than the other. Or actually, I will say there's a hierarchy of how you have to treat the spiritual with the soul, with the physical, the body. There is a hierarchy, but you cannot neglect the physical. You cannot neglect the body. Why? Because we live in a physical world.
Yes.
So, and at the end of the day, we have a physical body right now. We have a physical body. So we cannot neglect it. And so that's why, again, this talk today is just on the physical body, meaning what can we do to live a healthier life? What can we do? Because we have this body, which is an amazing creation, this body that can do so many. I mean, as an engineer, like you cannot design a human body. You as a mechanical, you cannot even come close.
Yeah.
To the redundancy, to the complexity, to the the self-healing nature of the body and the correcting mechanisms. You cannot. It's like impossible for man to do this. And so I say, yes, we have this body while we're on this earth, and it's up to us to take care of it. Just like if you're going to rent a car, or say you want to borrow my phone for today. So Rex, I want to borrow your phone for today. So because my phone's broken. So I let you borrow my phone, right? And then, what are you going to do with that phone all day? Are you going to step on it? You're going to break the glass? You're going to throw it in the mud when you give it back to me? Or you're going to maybe polish it up or something and then give it back to me nice? At the end of the day, we have this body, and it's up to us to take care of our body. Everybody has their own responsibility to take care of their own body. I try to teach that physically, in the soul and in the spirit, because we are made up of 3 parts.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome and brilliant. And I hope to be present in this webinar today. I'll do my best to be there because there is so much to learn, and the energy that comes out and the vibration is so intense.
Yeah, and then you're going to see, and hopefully I'm trying to get a couple of people that I've worked with that they can give their testimonies and this is on physical things now. Because the other ones that, the other testimonies that are on my Facebook page, talk about healings from medical issues and also fears, because we conquered fears. Like some people had multiple fears. If you watch the testimonials from March 31st, if you just look at my Facebook page and look, those people had tons of fears and all gone, totally gone. Totally gone.
It's all in our minds. It's the perception we have of them. Just change your beliefs and fears will go away. Yes.
Yeah. No. And again, we can take our mind and we can go towards fear, or we can take our mind and go towards, and you call it fantasy, I call it hope.
Yeah.
Okay. But the reason, and again, for me, there's wrong hope and real hope. There's wrong faith and real faith. Or, so it's important to know what those are. And how can I achieve this, which is available to every single one of you out there who's listening? That positive expectation of whatever starting point you're at. Okay, it's totally possible, and I've seen it time and time again.
That's really, really awesome, Rex, and I thank you very much for this moment. I think we should just close the rant because it's going to be over 1 hour. We could be talking a whole day about it, of course. I'm really, really grateful for having this opportunity. As you said, it's not just joy, it's something else that makes us vibrate. And that's what I want people to feel when they do something good, when they are living their lives, actually. And I see that you are doing the same. You are sharing love and helping people to achieve this level of energy where they can just be the best version of themselves, sharing love and giving love. And I take my hat also, and that's really, really grateful. We are going to close it. I'm going to share all the relevant links about your work and your webinars and your website. It's just incredible. And we will aim for another discussion about perception and behavior. And maybe, I think we have to talk a little bit about emotions and understand what are they, right? Because I do feel that you have something really special to say about emotions too, right, Rex? Can you hear me well? I think my connection is a little bit unstable.
You are breaking up. Your line was breaking up a little bit.
Yes, it was breaking. Yeah, what I was saying is we have later to talk about emotions, because I do feel that you might have something special to say about emotions too. And now, could you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I talk a little bit about emotions. Spiritual healing talk. Emotions have a big role, and you have to understand where emotion ranks and where you need to put emotions. Yes. I'm not questioning anybody's emotions, whether they're real or they're fake, but you have to know what hierarchy or what level of importance you give these emotions. Okay. So, yeah. And I go through exercises where I can prove my point in my live seminar, but all right. That's a whole other topic that we can talk about on another time, and I'll be more than happy to join you. I mean, more material to talk about. That's a big point that actually, it's a big point that when people understand where their emotions should play in their life, and then how to now use it to their benefit, not to their destruction. Because most people use emotions and they actually ruin their lives with it. It's just used in the wrong way.
That is so precious advice. Just by saying that, I'm just having new bubbles of visions and clear path to follow and to explore right now. It's awesome. Rex, thank you again. And I wish you a successful webinar, as you always do. And we'll see you very soon. And I'll let you know about this video. And thank you again for being here for this interview with the Mind Shapers.
Francisco, it's been my honor, my pleasure to join you today. And again, I whenever I can, sit down and have coffee, I call this having coffee, like when we're just having this conversation like this. It's always an honor for me to do that with you, because I count you as a good friend, a good and true friend.
Thank you. Also the same from here, and I'm also very grateful to have discovered these really awesome people and have you as a friend, and I just have to go through this experience for this to happen. It was just a matter of time, and I couldn't be more grateful. And certainly we'll be together soon again for other awesome talks and conversations. So let's make it a rant.
That's right.
And see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Francisco.